welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video we will discuss about the pulmonary circulation. Here we can see the heart and the blood are coming from the organ to the heart through this, and is usually coming through the superior vena, inferior vena. We need to know about just need to know about this right now. That is the blood is coming from the organ to the heart, and from here the right atrium it move to the right ventricle here, and from the through pulmonary artery here we can see the impure blood move to the lungs, and in lungs it get oxygenated and return through the pulmonary vein, which we can see here in red, and to the heart in left atrium. From there it moved to the left ventricle and through the bronchial artery reaches the organ. Here we can see, and this is the red in color, this is the bronchial artery. One thing that we need to remember, this is the systemic circulation, this is the pulmonary circulation. So we got two circulation in our body, and this is the systemic circulation, this is the pulmonary circulation, and the heart and lungs connecting circulation. This is a short loop of circulation. This is known as the pulmonary circulation, and this pulmonary artery is the only artery which is carrying the impure blood, which means that deoxygenated blood, and the pulmonary vein, it is the only vein that carry the impure blood. So from left ventricle through pulmonary artery reaches the lung, and from lungs through pulmonary vein reaches the heart. This circulation is known as the pulmonary circulation. Now let's discuss about the features of the pulmonary circulation. So in pulmonary circulation, the lung is that center, and the lung is the only organ that receiving the entire cardiac output. Here we have seen that the blood from the heart move all to the lungs. So the lung is the only organ that receiving the entire cardiac output, and the distance is less, so it is less affected by the gravitational force. And in systemic circulation we know that the heart to the limbs, all these are affected by the gravitational force. We have already know about it, but in the pulmonary circulation it is less affected by the gravitational force, because the distance travel from the heart to lungs, as we all know that the heart and the lungs are situated very in a close manner, so the distance is traveling is less, so it is less affected by the gravitational force. And the pulmonary artery are thin walled and elastic tissue and have a larger diameter. So the cardiac output, when the blood is pumped by the heart, it can receive the blood even in its high pressure. So pulmonary artery are thin walled and elastic tissue that have larger diameter, and the pulmonary capillary are larger than systemic capillary. So alveoli sit on capillary basket. We know that in pulmonary circulation the pulmonary capillaries are present, and in systemic circulation systemic capillaries are present, and this systemic capillaries is to the organ and pulmonary capillaries for the alveoli. So in both the pulmonary capillaries are larger because it need to cover the whole alveolus. So alveolus sit in the capillary basket. It's just like we need to know that the alveolus sit on a capillary basket, and it's just like a basket, And next is the pulmonary vein, and I have already mentioned about the pulmonary artery there and pulmonary capillaries. Now for the pulmonary vein, are highly distensible and act as the blood reservoir. So it's obviously from lungs it moved to the heart, and pulmonary vein are highly distensible and act as a blood reservoir. That's all for the pulmonary vein. And now this sits the point, that is, since pulmonary vessels are highly distensible, so this circulation is a low pressure, low resistance and a high capacitance system. So the pulmonary vessels are highly distensible, as I already mentioned about the pulmonary artery, capillary and veins. So this is highly distensible. So this circulation is a low pressure and low resistance and a high capacitance system. And you should remember all these points because it's very important for you need to know about this pulmonary circulation. And this one is the 7th point, that is the pulmonary blood is influenced by the intrathoracic pressure. So This intrathoracic pressure is influencing the pulmonary blood flow. And the next one is the artery carries the deoxygenated blood and veins carry the oxygenated blood. As I already mentioned about in the diagram itself, I have mentioned that the artery, this is the only artery that carry the deoxygenated blood and vein carry the oxygenated blood. And one thing we should remember here, because it got many physiological basis question, is based on this point, that is the ninth point, that is the angiotensin converting enzyme is produced by the endothelial cell of the pulmonary vasculature. What's the specialty for this? This enzyme is needed for the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, which has got an effect on the blood pressure. That's all for the pulmonary circulation.